That's it. Well, hello and welcome to the Jonathan Ross Show. It's Saturday night, and what a show we've got for you. Even I'm excited, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sweating like the cheddar up Anthony Wall Thompson's jumper. I feel for him. Poor Anthony. Because we've all been tempted, haven't we? And I love a bit of cheese. Du pain, du vin. Do remember to pay for it. You've all heard the jokes, I'm sure, already. On Twitter, they said, if you are going to shoplift, do it more carefully. All right? And some said, how dare we? I'm not going to add to that. Let's just wish him all the best, because he's clearly having a mental breakdown. Right? So you're applauding a man in trouble, is what you're doing. Do you know how annoying it is at home when you lose the remote control on your TV and you can't find it? Well, there's a new telly they've got out, and I've been testing one at home, which can be controlled by your voice. It's going to solve that problem. You simply say the instructions, the TV hears it, it's a technology you've been trying out on phones, and it responds. As I said, I've got it at the testing phase, so you've got to be careful. I asked for more brightness, it switched over to QI. I asked for less colour, it put on Midsummer Murders. So you see, you've got to be specific. Finally, I just shouted, change, channel, change, and it gave me My Transsexual Summer. So everyone's a winner. Invention of the week is this. It's a home DNA machine. You can buy a machine to test your own DNA at home. It produces DNA on demand. It's like having Ryan Giggs in your house, OK? Just think what this technology can mean. You get one of those machines on Albert Square, each episode would only be 5 minutes long. Are you my mum? No. Boom, 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 boom. And finally, our Prime Minister, David Cameron, has this week boasted that he has completed every level of the game Angry Birds. You would think he would keep quiet about how much time he's paying on his iPhone when he should be sorting out Europe. David Cameron's not the only current world leader who's excellent at video games, of course, because Silvio Berlusconi is always showing off his Donkey Kong. And I'm not sure whether I believe David Cameron, or Chubby Chops, as he's known in our house. I think he's just trying to get down with the kids, because I've seen the posters they're thinking of going with at the next election. So you see, there's one there. Which is just boasting. And then there's this one. And would you like to see my favourite? OK, let's have a look at the green room. Let's see who's on the show this evening. We've got some great guests for you. My first guest has brought more young couples together than WKD. It's the host of Take Me Out, Mr. Paddy McGuinness. Good evening, Paddy. Great to have you here. Nice to be here. Take Me Out is brilliant. You know, it's not an original idea here in the UK. It was based on a hit show in Australia called You've Pulled, Sheila. That was the original idea. Paddy McGuinness, ladies and gentlemen, I'm thrilled you're here. Thank you for coming on the show. OK. My next guest is one of the best-known actresses in the world. It is the wonderful, the beautiful, the talented Brooke Shields. The lovely Brooke Shields. I read, Brooke, I don't feel that you can still get into the jeans, those famous Calvin Klein jeans you wore in 1980.
I actually can. They're much higher than I ever remember them being, and I have to lie on the floor and need some help. Some other people to help me zip them up, but I actually can get in them.
You know, I'm pleased to say I can still wear my jeans from the 80s.
What? As a scarf?
So, Brooke Shields, ladies and gentlemen, she's on the show with Paddy right there. And now, here's a surprise extra bonus for you, a treat, I think. My next guest is an amazing musical performer. You won't want to miss. You won't necessarily know his name, but you will after this. He creates incredible sounds using just glasses and water. Did you see the TV commercial they were showing before Christmas? It's Peter Spatina, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't speak much in the way of English. He's from Austria. Fortunately, I can communicate. So, guten Abend, Peter. Haben Sie some glasses mit you? And mag schnell eine demonstration of the music. Bonjour. Okay. Now, I know that on its own, one glass isn't that exciting. But trust me, he's got lots more glasses. Peter Spatina, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know whether you drink it afterwards. And more to come, because my next guest is one of the finest actresses this country has ever produced. Ladies and gentlemen, Emma Thompson. Emma Thompson. Who doesn't love a bit of Emma Thompson? Every Christmas in my house.
I come and serve drinks, don't I?
No, we watch Love Actually every year.
Oh.
Every year we watch it. And every year I cry at the bit when you get the wrong present.
Yeah.
She won't like me.
Bastard Rickman. Oh. I'll have him.
She won't like me saying this, but Emma is a national treasure, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh.
She's a national treasure.
Really?
She should be roped off at all times.
Is that a promise?
Emma Thompson, ladies and gentlemen. And we've also got some great live music here for you tonight from the fabulous Florence and the Machine. Thrilled to have you here. I love Florence and the Machine. The new album's fantastic. Can I just ask, Florence, which members of your band will be playing the glasses and which one the coffee cups? You know, I don't know if you've heard Florence sing, but she's got an incredible voice, a very powerful voice as well. First time I heard you sing live, you were at the Hammersmith Apollo, I think it's called, and I was 3 miles away in Shepherd's Bush. Florence and the Machine, ladies and gentlemen, before we get to the end of the show. OK. Now, if you want to leave a little bit of weight for the new year, I might have the perfect thing for you, which is these. These have just come out. OK, we've got 2 of them here. These are, it's a knife and fork. It's a simple idea. It's a knife and fork with dumbbells attached. You get the full set, so it's a great idea, isn't it? So you're eating like a giant portion of steak and chips, guilt-free, because you would have a stronger left hand than the right hand, I think, but that's fine, because my right arm is much stronger than my left at the moment anyway, so you're... I'm right-handed. From there. It's like an award. But what if you wanted to really go to town and you're pigging out, and you want something like a massive chocolate brownie sundae for pudding, OK? So you got that. So that's taking care of the main course weight. You got something like that. It's not that massive. Here's the idea. This will burn up all the calories in there quite easily. It's a spoon that I've attached very cleverly to this. You see? Trouble thing is, I do want to eat it now. I'll put it down there and explain that to the people who clean the carpets tomorrow. I'm taking this idea a step further with my new treadmill accessory, the Chocolate Eclair Sports Cap. OK? So you have a regular-looking sports cap with an eclair attached to the front. You put that on somewhere. You get yourself on your running machine. I've already given it to Paddy to try out to show you how this works. You see? You see? Nicely done, sir. I'm going to clean this up while we get my first guest out. He's the host of one of the biggest shows on ITV on a Saturday night. Let's have a look at the very popular Take Me Out.
Suck it to them. Hello, ladies. I'm Jack, and I'm from Huddersfield. Gracie, now. Huddersfield lad. Huddersfield girl. Whereabouts?
Colca.
Colca? My grandma's from Colca.
Oh!
That's the only worry. We could be related, though, couldn't we?
That was from tonight's edition. Will you please welcome Mr. Paddy McGuinness. How are you, Paddy?
Very well, thank you.
You're looking
really
well.
good, thank you.
Well. Hey, well, congratulations on Take Me Out. It's a 3rd series now, is that right?
3rd series, yeah.
Did you... when did it occur to you that this was hit, this was going to go on, and that you'd be in gainful employment doing it for a while?
I think, well, the first series, we did the pilot originally for Channel 4, and it went away, nothing happened about it. About 12 months later, I was shopping in TK Maxx for about... Is there a problem? The producer rang me up and said, that show you did, that pilot ITV, want to do it on Saturday night? I said, send Vernon Kay best. All that carry on. And said, no, they want you to do it. And I was like, flipping heck. And I did it, you know, and being a comedian and stuff, you kind of get a bit of a chip on your shoulder, think you can do anything on TV. And presenting is a real skill, and I watch people like yourself and Dermot O'Leary, Anton Deck, Ollie Willoughby and all these people, and I kind of learning and learning and learning. As the show went on, it sort of got more popular.
Philip Schofield.
Philip Schofield, yeah.
If you don't mention Schofield, he'll be furious and he'll punch you in the face.
And Red Darnage, lest we not forget. And it just kind of, you know, it doesn't take itself too serious. It's just a bit of fun. And I used to love watching, when I was a kid, people like Larry Grayson and Michael Barrymore before all that. You know, but he was good. He was good, Barrymore. You can't take it away from him before he, you know...
Well, they did take it away from me. They very nearly took it away from me, but, you know, you've just got to be... You've just got to be careful.
But, you know, it's just... I used to love that kind of TV. I used to love telly I could watch with my mum on a Saturday night, what she'd laugh at and I'd laugh at. And now
were you a fan of Blind Date? Did you like the original
Of course I was, yeah. I used to watch it with my mum at home. I loved it, you know. And it's a different game now, especially having a dating show, because it's a multimedia world. So there's Twitter and Facebook and all this carry on now. So things are instant and out there, and couples hook up a lot easier. So it's... I really enjoy doing it, though. It's a lot of fun.
So, who's been your favourite so far? Who've been the kind of the best people on and the worst people on, if you can talk about?
We've got a lad coming up, thinking about 2 or 3 episodes, and he just insults all the girls, but I mean uncomfortable. Yeah, really, like, bad. And his last girlfriend was Jodie Marsh, so that gives you the level.
And bad experience.
And he just insults everyone, you know, but...
What kind of things did he say? Could you remember any one of them?
One of the girls I was talking, I said, he had these girls, and I said, one of these girls was an ex-Miss England. He went, well, it's not her for a kick-off. And it just things like that, and I'm like, oh, you know, but it, you know, I mean, it's quite refreshing to see a lad coming on being honest, because normally they're quite scared when they come on the show.
Well, of course, it must be terrifying, I imagine, to go down there and know you're going to be... you know, it's hard enough when you're out in a club.
Yeah.
Not that I remember those situations particularly, but certainly for a young man to go in a club and to allow the women to judge him, and I guess that's what makes it OK. You couldn't do that show with 30 men and 1 woman. That would be...
I don't think it'd work with 30 blokes, because blokes are just happy if the girl's breathing. So it won't work, but... I mean, even now it's the 3rd series, and I was on this current series, and it'll be on again in a few episodes. But one of the girls, a lad come out, a good-looking lad. You know, I thought he's going to do well. Yeah. 29 girls left the lights on. 1 girl turned the light off, and I went over and I said, "Why have you turned your light off?" She went, "Well, if you notice, he's got a bit of an unusual bend in his knee." So, you know, that's a woman's mind, John.
But you have, I guess, brought some people genuinely together on the show. The show's purpose is entertainment, but I believe some relationships have come out of it. Someone's getting married, is that right?
It is. Well, we've had a couple of engagements. Someone's getting married, I think, 2013. They're engaged at the minute. But that's nice, but it's like what we're saying about, you know, you know, Twitter and Facebook are great, you know, and I think it's a good thing, multimedia, you know, all these websites, but they kind of, what happens with a show, they'll go on dates with someone and they all sort of get together in these little groups after, and then they kind of go, actually, I like the look of someone else on the show, and they meet, and that's what's happened with the 2 couples who've got engaged.
So they weren't people who sort of went on dates as a result of the show, but they met themselves at the...
They met through the show, yeah.
OK. What's this, you know, I hate to be critical of you or the show.
Right.
But the whole thing is built on a foundation of lies and deceit. Because every week, if you watch it, you see Paddy sends the couples who are lucky enough to mix up, to get together, off on a special day to the Isle of Fernandos. And I've looked on every map and and I cannot find the Isle of Fernandos.
It's like the Bermuda Triangle.
Is it? Do you send them to the Centre Park near Nottingham? Is that what it is?
No. It is a place.
Right. So, and does anything get? Do they ever? Does things...
Yeah.
Friction?
Yeah. If you'd have read the papers this week.
Well,
I
glanced at them, but I didn't read it. I assumed there was a...
Well, you know, I mean, it's, you know, you get a group of young people together, that's what happens. I mean, if you can cast your mind back that far, John, when you're a young man, you know, this is what happens. But, you know, I think the show, as a Saturday night show, is quite, you know... I don't think it's seedy. It's quite entertainment, light.
It's fun. You keep it on the right side completely of that.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel that way at all. I'm not implying that at all. You're like the modern-day Scylla.
Thank you.
You're like Scylla with a terrible haircut.
Just because you're blessed with a luxurious
Well, is it because you're losing your hair? Or is it?
It is,
yeah. I didn't realise
Thanks for highlighting that. On national TV. I might get a Rooney done.
You should get the Rooney done.
I will do.
You know when he did it, they took the hair from the palms of his hands to put up there. You know that,
Sketching.
Here's the thing I find interesting about you, Paddy, or one of the things is you sort of fell into show business, really, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I mean, I never...
Save it, because we're going to take a break and we're going to find out how Paddy became the superstar he is today after these. Don't go away. Paddy McGuinness is with us. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's not an illusion. He's been on twice this evening. OK, so I was asking, because it sounds to me, if I've got this right, a fascinating story. How did you get into show business? What happened?
Peter Kay was, you know, a kind of jobbing comedian at the time. He was doing all the little clubs as you do, you know, on the circuit and what have you. And I went along watching Peter a few nights. And when I left school, where I lived and how I was brought up was you leave school and you worked, basically, because, you know, to bring money in.
What were you doing? Were you a personal trainer? Is that why you were doing that?
Yeah, I was Peter's personal trainer.
Oh, keep that
yeah,
quiet.
I don't like to talk about it. It's not a good advert.
That must have been a busy 3 minutes. But do you still work out with him? Because he must, like...
Clearly, yeah, with every week, John, we're on that beach like Rocky.
You look fit as a fiddle, but I guess like all... I mean, I'm trying to lose the weight after Christmas, and I guess he is as well. Is that right?
Not Christmas.
Christmas '89. Okay.
No, but you do, don't you? You can't say as you get in your 30s, I find. It's harder and harder to get rid of it.
I'm dreading it.
Anyhow, so I went watching Peter at a comedy club, and we were leaving. He said, I'll just get my wage. And I said, oh, how much? He said, 40 quid. And I thought, God, at the time, I didn't earn that in a shift, so I thought, it was one of the things like, oh, well, I'll give that a whirl, you know, and I kind of
did... So did you know him already, or you just went up to him?
Yeah, we went to school together.
Oh,
went to school together. We were mates for years. And then Peter did a show called That Peter Kay Thing, which was the original Phoenix Nights was in that, the pilot to Phoenix Nights. And I did that, and then it was great, and I went back to work, and I thought, oh, that was a nice little treat, you know. And then he rang me up, and he said we were doing Phoenix Nights, and he really dug his heels in for me, Pete, on that, you know, because he didn't have as much clout as he has now. And he really dug it, and I'll be forever grateful for that.
So, when did you get married? You got married last year?
June, yeah.
June last year? June. Well, congratulations. That's a lovely thing.
Thank you very much. Very nice.
Congratulations to
Thank you.
young Paddy. Oh, there you are. Well, you beautiful one. Yeah. And Peter was the best man, is that right?
Yeah.
He make a good speech?
You say good. Because I kind of thought to myself, I was the best man at his wedding. And I totally killed it, because I thought, I'll go a bit cheeky with this.
Yeah, yeah.
But all Peter's wife's family are like staunch Irish Catholics.
Oh, really?
And I got up and I went, thanks for everyone for coming today. Me and Peter, you know, I've known a long time, and we've been through a lot together. I said, I just hope none of them are here today. Nothing. So he always says you're going to get me back for that, and he did, in spades. But, you know, that's for me.
You delivered a nice silence with the speech.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
OK, let me ask you, let's go back to Take Me Out, because one of the things I like in the show is when you introduce the couples, you have those phrases you use, like let the ding see the dong.
Yeah.
Let the booty see the licious.
Yeah.
And you've got through a lot of those, haven't you?
Oh, yeah, God.
And I thought I'd dig some out from the old series and see how many you could remember. Some you could guess, I think, but some are just a bit crazy.
Right.
Let the banana see the...
Split.
Which I think is really rude when you stop thinking about it. I mean, I know it's a play on words, but that's... Once you start thinking about that...
Yeah. Do you know what? You're right.
That's so graphic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's tea time that goes out. Let the blueberry see the...
Muffin.
It's blueberry, see the muffin. Let the bubble see the...
Oh, squeak.
Yes. And then there was another one. Let the bubble see the...
Rap.
Bubble see the rap?
Yeah.
Bubble see the
that...
bath. Bubble see the bath.
Damn your eyes.
You're down one there. OK, how about this one? This is, once again, I think maybe a little too suggestive.
Right.
Let the cream see the...
Cracker.
No! You might have said that later on.
Oh, hang on. Let the cream see the... Horn?
The horn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I knew we'd get there.
What about this one? Let the pork see the...
Scratching.
You've done 3 separate pork ones. You could do a whole pork-themed show.
Go on then, let's go.
With no Jewish people on it, obviously.
Yeah.
Let the pork see the scratching. Let the pork see the...
chop.
Yes, and finally, let the pork see the... For big points now. You're playing for the car.
Scratchings, chop,
And...
let the pork see the...
That's right in front of your face, man.
Audience. Hall.
No! Let the pork see the pie. I was miming eating a pork pie.
I don't
pie.
eat them like that.
You don't? No. All right, mate. We've got to move on. Paddy, great having you here. I love the show. We watch it every week. The kids love watching it. I'm hooked as well on that. And you know what? I like all the kids on it. All the girls, you know, they're playing along, having fun, and the guys must be so nerve-wracking for them. But, you know, hats off to them for going out and doing it.
Absolutely.
You know,
Thank
taking
you very
part.
much,
And hats off for you for doing such a great job.
Thank you.
Don't go away, because I know you want to enjoy the next act. But for now, will you join me in saying thank you to Paddy McGuinness, ladies and gentlemen? We have got a musical treat for you now. Believe me, you don't want to miss this. Will you please welcome, and you might know him, he was in a big commercial last year. I saw it, fell in love with what he did, wanted to see him do it live, so we've asked him to come over. Here he is. Will you please make him feel very welcome? It's Peter Spatina! Spatina, ladies and gentlemen. Wasn't that something? Oh, because you have to keep your hands, you have to keep the oil off the fingers, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's fantastic. I wouldn't want to listen to it all night, but it's great. It's great. I love that. And that was one of your own compositions. Fragile, is it called Fragile Sounds?
Fragile Sound.
Fragile Sounds.
Zerbrechlicher, in German, zerbrechlicher Klang.
Exactement. Now, that is so good. But can you do popular music at all? Do you do requests, for example?
Maybe, I don't know.
Ladies, well, do you have any requests? Anything you want to try? See if Peter can try?
Peter, can you do a bit of Lady Gaga?
Lady Gaga.
Bad Romance.
Bad Romance?
Bad Romance.
Bad Romance.
You know the... Wah, 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 ka. Mama, pa, la, la, wah, la, la, Bad Romance.
Okay.
Ah.
Nee, dat is wel fout.
Fabulous. Peter Spatina. That is orchestra as well. Join us after the break. I'll be joined by the beautiful Brooke Shields. Still to come, Emma Thompson, and we have music from Florence and the Machine. Don't go away. Welcome back. I bet there'll be kids all over the country sort of like trying that with glasses at the weekend and smashing Dad's special whiskey one. Shall we get my next guest out, ladies and gentlemen? I think we should. She's a film goddess. She's a Broadway superstar. It is the wonderful, the beautiful, the talented Brooke Shields. to meet you.
fun back there.
You were having a nice time.
I was having a lovely
You enjoyed.
time.
You enjoyed. Obviously, have you met Emma before? I don't know if you met.
Just briefly. I can't
Briefly,
say,
okay.
you know, I know her, but now we're all very intimate after being on that couch together.
And have you met Florence before?
No, this is the first.
And the machine? Did you meet her machine back then?
You could feel it.
And Paddy, you got on well with Paddy?
Got along very well with Paddy.
Did you understand much of what he was saying? Because he has,
Nothing.
yeah. Whereabouts in the north exactly are you from,
Whereabouts?
Paddy?
Bolton.
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 No, no.
No,
Bolton.
no.
Not Bolton.
Not Bolton.
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 I'm from New York.
Hey, but you know, one of the things I admire about you is you're one of those rare things. You're someone who was a child star, been in the business for a while, and didn't go off the rails ever. But you won't believe how long books... Because if we were to say your first professional engagement, we could say that you have been working in show business for 45 years.
You could, yes, you could safely, and you'd be correct.
Because you were, how was it, 11 months
I was
when you...
11 months when and I had a lot to say about it.
Yeah.
I was a baby model.
You were the face of various products, weren't you? And they became... What were you the face of? You were the face of...
I was like the face of the 80s, which I don't understand how that's like an arbitrary
of
thing.
the
It's like,
80s.
here's the face of the 80s. Like, it's
know,
weird.
You might like this, because Paddy's done... I know you won't believe this, but Paddy's done a bit of modelling. And Paddy, you were the face of...
Greg's.
Greg's.
Greg's?
They make pasties. Do you know what a pasty is? Have you had a pasty?
Like the...
Sausage rolls, Brooke.
Oh, sausage rolls. I thought you meant like a mint, like a pasty.
No, not like a pastil.
No.
That's how classy Brooke
I'm
is.
sorry.
Can you imagine him
I
being...
was a French major at university.
Can him be in the face of an upmarket French mint?
A little round mint.
Hey, I tell you what, get that down the chook, eh? Right, fresh breath and all. Bolton. Anyway, you've got two girls.
I do.
How old are they?
Oh, they're 5 and 8.
5 and 8. Okay, so they know Mum was a model, Mum was in show business, Mum made movies. Do they want some of that action? Do they say, Mum, can we do some of this?
They don't have the patience for it. I think, you know, so much of why I even wanted to do it was to be liked. You know, it's that sort of getting the approval. But they're growing up so differently. They both got a chance to be in... My husband's a film writer, and he asked if they could be in a cameo one day. And I said, great. So we got them all. They got a little wardrobe and their little trailer. The older one goes through hair and makeup, the wardrobe, everything. Happy to go do the scene. The little one, who rarely smiles, as you can see in that picture, does all the hair and makeup, gets everything all dressed up, and then says, no, I cannot. So wouldn't do it. So I get her home. I mean, I was at home, and I said, honey, I said, why didn't you want to do it? She said, I did not want to. And I said, did you just want to do the hair and makeup? And she said, yes. She's no dummy. She went through all the hair and makeup pretending she was going to do it, and then I thought, either you'll be fabulous in Hollywood, or you won't make it at all.
Well, you mentioned you're married and you have the children now, of course, but you are famously linked with a number of men over the years. Because kind of, you know, lucky men, has to be said. But, you know, high profile. I won't go through all the names.
Too many.
I don't think we have time.
Way too many.
Certainly, but a few stick out. And one in particular, you know, I said, well, you know, you went, you were very close to Michael Jackson.
Yes.
How closely did you know him? I mean, you were really pretty close for years, weren't you?
Yes. I mean, I'd have to say that in the later years, after I think when I married and had children, I became less in his life. But we met when we were, I mean, I was 13. And I never wanted anything from him, you know? I had my own life and my own work. I didn't need something from him, do you know, to get something from him.
And is that what everyone else, he was encountering that a lot elsewhere?
It just was rampant, you know? And I think that was he had a sense of, you know, he was, I think, secure around me and didn't feel threatened and didn't feel... I had nothing to judge him about. I had nothing. We laughed. You know, we were like little kids in this really adult world, and we got to sort of hang on to each other and be little kids. And I think that was a gift, and we both knew it and cherished it.
So when was the last time you spoke to him before his death?
When my baby's being born, he called me or he sent me flowers, and
nice.
You know, just to because it was what I always talked about. You know, that was sort of the one thing that I always knew I wanted to do, was have children. Like that was the one thing, no matter what this crazy career did or where I was wanted or not wanted or accepted or rejected, whatever it was, I knew that I wanted that part.
And he proposed to you, didn't he?
No, see, he gave me a beautiful ring, and I said, what does this mean? Do you want to ask me a question? And he said, no, I just want you to know, you know, that look at it. And I mean, he would say things like that. Look how beautiful it is, and just know that I love you and that I'm, but it was never, it never crossed over into that. I mean, and it was safer for him to say, I was his girlfriend or I was something, because it kept, you know, he was fine with me. Like, I was going to protect him.
But let me ask you about George Michael, because you dated George Michael, and I'm thinking, okay, you've got to have the worst gaydar in the world. Because how old were you when you dated George?
Keep in mind that I'd gone on, which was the Johnny Carson show. So that's how long ago this was.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's
You're talking about 20-odd years ago, at least?
Yes. And they said, you know, who would you like to be stranded on an island? Of course, the typical question. So I say, oh, George Michael. Well, it was known, sadly, because I wrote a book, it was known that I was a virgin. Okay. So, of course, I mean, it became who would
Who's going to be the lucky fella?
Who's going to be the guy?
They should have given out a golden ticket, like for Willy Wonka.
Like,
you should have got it in a DVD, and he's like, I got it!
It was so sweet, though. So we were both doing a tour. He was on a record tour, and I was on a book tour, some kind of tour, and we happened to be in the same hotel.
You met.
And so, you know, he had a publicist and I had a publicist, and they said, well, look, why don't you have dinner together? And he got the hotel room on the roof, and he picked out the food that I like, and he complimented me on my blouse, and we talked about fashion.
So you figured this was going to be the night?
Well, and I also thought, what a gentleman.
Also, if you're going to give it up to anyone, give it up to Wham.
Right.
Am I right? Am I right, ladies?
And I even thought he was a real gentleman when he didn't want to kiss me goodnight. I was like, we went out to a party for Grace Jones, and he goes, well, he turns over to me and he says, I want to leave a little bit early and take you, you know. I'm thinking, this is it. So we get near my home where I was still living with my mother. He knows. And as we get close to the house, it was in New Jersey, he says to the driver to drive around a bit.
Yeah.
I was like, this is it. It's going to happen.
He was going to move
It's going to be
in
in the back of the limo, and it's going to be with Wham, and the partition went up, and that was
the
the whole
partition went
thing.
up.
And then he says to me, he goes, I think we need to take a break. I need to concentrate on my career. And I was like, oh, no. I was so heartbroken. I went back to college, and I like, literally, I heard the song Never Gonna Dance Again. I thought it was about me.
Oh.
I was sure that, you know, he chose his career over me, and it was heartbreaking for him.
But what he actually...
No.
Have you cleared the air about this?
No.
Have you spoken with George?
You
know, I have George's number. Do you want to call George now and talk about it?
Well, is he feeling better?
He is better now. He's better now.
God bless. God bless.
Well. But he is still gay, so it hasn't changed.
Yeah, so I still don't have a chance. It's okay. It's okay.
One final thing. Is this true you're training... You're training to play basketball at the moment? I did.
I finished the Addams Family, where I had to learn how to tango, and now I'm going to have to learn how to play basketball.
And how's that going so far?
I start when I leave. This is my swan song.
So you haven't started yet?
No, I haven't started yet. But
Come back over, shoot a few hoops with us.
I will.
That's not a euphemism.
No.
You can play the
This whole show is a euphemism. Not stopping.
Well, lovely to have you on. Ladies and gentlemen, the lovely Brooke Shields. Thank you so much. That was lovely. Brooke Shields, ladies and gentlemen, join us after the break when I'll be joined by the amazing Emma Thompson, and we have music from Florence and the Machine. Don't go away. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get right on with the show. Let's bring my final guest out. She is one of our finest writers and actors. Will you please welcome the incomparable Emma Thompson. The one and only. How great to have Emma Thompson on.
Back there.
Well, Happy New Year to you. Let's start by that. You look, I get the feeling, maybe I'm wrong, you're the sort of person, you've got focus, you've got resolve. If you make a New Year's resolution, I imagine you would stick to it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I think there's very little that can't be clarified or illuminated by, you know, a good run of about an hour and a half, which is why I'm very much still in the dark.
So this is a New Year's
See, they
resolution.
got it. He's not even listening. You see, he's not even listening. That was quite a good joke. And I was working out while I was talking to Brooke. I'm a bit grumpy about her.
Why?
Because she's so nice, and you think that looking like that she'd have the decency to be unpleasant.
You think she did? Whereas Paddy is instantly dislikable.
Instantly.
I mean, instantly. Nothing nice about him. He's lovely. Hey, what a remarkable career. Obviously, it's far from over. And I wonder, do you watch any of your old movies on a regular basis?
I never watch them, no. I never do.
Why not?
I just think, oh, God. Oh, I could have done that better.
Really?
Well,
even one like the ones you won Oscars, and you even
yeah,
think that...
I don't tend to watch them. Maybe it's that thing of getting older and not wanting to look at yourself in the past somehow. It's a very strange thing if you think about it. Having that, it's not like having home movies where you look back at yourself, although that's strange enough.
Because I suppose it's not just the way your looks have changed, it's the way your acting has changed, and the way you would do stuff. So I guess there are things you would do differently.
I'm playing the Queen next week.
Wow.
And what's odd about that is the first time I did the Queen, it was a sketch, and it was Frankie Howard's speech. So it was the Queen's voice and everything, but it was the, oh, no, titty not, I know your sort, all fur coat and no knickers. And I thought, oh, God, I hope I don't slip into that, you know, sketch comedy, which is what I started, you know, it's very...
So what are you doing the Queen in? What's that going to be?
It's a short for Sky. And it's about that time when Michael Fagan, you know, the intruder, got into her bedroom.
That was weird.
Got in through Prince Charles's window. He's off his window, apparently.
And then he stood at the end of the bed.
Picture the scene.
What happened to him?
He just, I don't know. I think he wasn't well.
I think we can safely assume.
Yeah.
You know, I always thought of you as being just super English, OK? About as English can be. Maybe it's because you speak so well and because I know...
I don't speak well. I've got a very nasal London glottal accent.
But you do speak well.
Well, I do speak well when I'm being paid to speak well.
On screen, you speak very, very well.
Yes.
But you're half Scottish? Or
my mum's Scottish.
I didn't realise it. Your mum's half Scottish?
She's from Glasgow. So we live half in Scotland and half in London, so all the holidays, that's what I had, growing up in London. Scotland, for me, it saved my life, really, because the first 7 years we lived in a little flat. So the idea of trees and lochs and mountains and everything, I used to dream about going to Scotland when I was little. Oh, God, actually, this is a good story. It's just come to me. Getting older, which I'm noticing more and more frequently. We were there last summer, and Guy and I were on our own for some reason. Greg must have been working, and we were in the big bed together in flannelette nighties, and you know, because obviously I know how to live. And there was this incredible kind of real loud banging on the door, and I thought, oh my God, we're alone. It's up the glen. I thought. So I went down, and there was this massive policeman in the porch, huge. And I thought, strange. So I opened the door and said, hello. And he said, oh, hello. I'm sorry to bother you. Very difficult to find up here. I said, yes, that's the idea. And he said, well, we just had somebody ring up and say that you've had an intruder on your land. And I said, an intruder? So, of course, picturing immediately Axeman behind bush.
Scary.
And I said, really? When? What sort of intruder? Well, he said, I was a dog worker coming up through the path there, saw a naked man about 50 years old coming through your field. And I said, really? Naked Axeman behind bush, immediately, you know. Christ! And I was really worried, because it was sort of terrifying. You know that feeling, it was like burglars in your house and everything. I said, what time, you know? Well, I mean, it was during the day, it was sometime in the afternoon, and she rang us later on, and I just wonder if you were all right. From behind me, on the stairs, Gaia, in her PJs, going, wasn't that about the time that you came up from the river, Mum? So, because down the house, there's a field, there's a pond, and there's only sheep in the field, and they don't mind if I walk up the field naked. At least I don't think they do. They're probably just all saying, oh, she's coming, just keep eating, just keep eating. And I thought, oh, my God. And I made the connection, and I could see the same thing happening to the policeman. And I could see him as he backed off, thinking, he's going to go back to the station, he's going to say, see that Emma Thompson? See her? Her tits must be so low that from a distance they read as testicles. I nearly lifted up.
I'm sure.
I'm
sure they're
not.
proud.
They're fine. They're
I'm
not.
sure they're splendid.
They're not that proud. They're slightly ashamed.
I'm sure. Let me ask you about your writing, because Emma has won an Oscar, not just for acting, but she won an Oscar for writing as well. It's incredible, for Sense and Sensibility, for the screenplay of that. Congratulations. It was, yeah, it was...
It's only about 100 years ago.
It's incredible. Which one was that? How's End was the performance, and
Yeah.
Sense and Sensibility was the screenplay.
Yeah.
So we phoned to check. We phoned the Oscar Academy, and they said absolutely the closest anyone else came. Charlie Chaplin years ago was given a kind of honorary award for writing, but it wasn't specifically for a screenplay. So you're the only human being on the planet who's achieved that. That is quite something. But you're writing still. You wrote the inanimate films, and now here's the thing. If I've got this correct, is this right? You're adapting Annie?
Yeah.
So the musical Annie, which was initially many years ago, it was a Sunday newspaper strip in America, and you're adapting this with the possibility of Will Smith's daughter Willow.
It's for Willow Smith,
Who whips her hair back and forth. I know you know that. And here's the super exciting thing, I think, is already a great combination. The score is going to be provided by...
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z. Because he already did he did a rap over...
He did the rap
Hard Knock Life.
Hard Knock Life,
It's
exactly.
a hard knock life.
Yeah.
Boom-ba. And the songs are going to be some new material.
Some new material
But
and
rap,
some of
is it
the
going to be
old
the
ones.
music they call rap?
Some of it might be.
And do you enjoy the music they call rap? Are you au fait with the sound of the rap generation?
I am. Sometimes I like it, but
Who's your
got a tiny
rapper
bit...
apart from Jay-Z?
OK, all right, you've got me, all right. I don't listen to the modern music except Florence and the Machine, what she's on, but actually I still listen to her, actually.
What about
I'm not
DMX?
just saying it because she's there and nice.
OK, she is terrific.
Really
She's
nice.
not rap, though.
No, she's absolutely brilliant. She's not a rap artist, but I do like some rap. I like Eminem. I think he's absolutely brilliant. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Did I say the name right? But every song now seems to have a bit of a tune, and then someone raps in the middle.
Top, yeah.
And then there's another bit of tune. And they all seem to be... Am I right in thinking that? They're all the same shape. So when there's a bit of tune, and then someone... I know, so I'm good at it, and then there's another bit of tune. And I
Is that how it sounds to you, Emma? It is kind of correct, though. I can't argue with that. I can't argue.
It is true because we're old farts now,
Yes.
Jonathan. There's no...
We're in denial, but it's true. How lovely to have you here. I think you'll agree. What just a splendid person to spend some time with. The lovely Emma Thompson, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. So put for the music. So lovely. Thanks to all my guests as well, of course. Next week here on the show, we'll be joined by the former boy wizard, Daniel Radcliffe will be here. We have the Sultan of Surreal, Noel Fielding, and Sir David Attenborough will be joining me as well. And we have music from Seal. It's going to be great having David Attenborough and Seal on the same show. There's bound to be some confusion there, isn't there? But now, performing No Light, No Light, she's just an exceptional talent. Ladies and gentlemen, the brilliant Florence and the Machine.
You are the space in my bed. You are the silence in between what I thought and what I said. You are the nighttime fear. You are the morning when it's clear, when it's over. You're the star. You're my head and you're my heart.
Florence on the machine, ladies and gentlemen. That's amazing.